admirable. That's admirable.
I like it.
Well, but we literally just
Make you famous. Make you
Are you
famous.
taking a picture? Okay.
So yeah, we was talking. Mike, you're gonna love this.
Well, cool,
They was asking me what happened at the banquet last night and all this kind of stuff, and I was telling a story about chasing Mike, and all this kind of stuff. And I told the story. I said, Chase's best friend is Mike, and he goes, Jason, I want to come up and hunt. And I said, man, I got a lot of guys want to come up and hunt. He goes, I want to see a big whitetail. He goes, what do you do? I said, I feed year round. And he goes, let me help you. I said, Mike, I don't think you understand. Last year I fed 67,000 pounds of corn.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I fed 23 tons of protein pellets.
Yep.
I can tell you one of my trucks is a 1-ton Duramax. I buy it in bulk, so when the tailgate's up, it'll hold 4,444 pounds before it starts dumping off the side. You know what? Mike didn't back up. He goes, let me help you with that. I said, you're not.
That's right. Look, that's what it's about, right? That's what the outdoors, that's what hunting does for us. And it really brings us together.
It does.
And look, when you need
It's
somebody.
the fellowship and the
is.
camaraderie.
And that's why, my wife, we talked about this the other day. We talked about doing like an Instagram page, and I don't like attention, but she put it as the outdoor chapel.
Oh, that's cool.
And I asked her, I said, why'd you choose that for me? Because I'm not creative enough to do it myself. And she said, because that's who you are. That's the ministry of it. And so for me, that's what it's about. Yeah. Like we're squirrel hunting, here we are, and we got YouTube in, we got Jim by, we all having fun hanging out. But in reality, what you may not see is behind the scenes, we're talking about what we can do to make a difference with every single person we're touching today. And that's what it's about. It's extension of the ministry. And kids, today we had a kid.
Yeah.
Today we had a kid.
Yeah.
It was awesome. He kind of shut down. I think he's autistic. And we had a chance to get him with us. And every once in a while we'd slide by and talk to him. He came out of shoot. He ended up killing like 5 squirrels.
Yeah.
His dad, every time he shoot, you could tell his dad the relief on his face. It was amazing. You tell we're
Like
doing.
he was proud.
We
Like,
were
he was
doing.
like,
we were doing Father in Heaven's work today. It was awesome. It really was.
And you're right. The kids is the deal. And I'm going to tell on myself.
Please do.
I'm not proud of this. When I was a young man becoming a professional bass fisherman, I knew as a boy, Jason, as a 6, 7, 8 year old, Mike, I knew I was predestined to be in the outdoor world. All right. Fortunate, one of my neighbors is a guy with blonde hair, lives on Lake 10 Killer.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Houston, yeah. Okay.
So, I know who he was talking about.
Okay.
So I was blessed.
I did until you said it. Now I do.
So I was blessed that Jimmy Houston, Roland Martin, and all those guys, they kind of took this young kid as a teenager and took me under my wing.
Awesome.
Jimmy told me something when I was that was when I was young, but as I become a professional bass fisherman, I did not have a clue how to catch them. Well, I thought I did.
Yeah.
I
catching pond fish.
I spent
Good news, I don't know how to catch
exactly. I spent a lot of money, and I don't know where it went. I ended up making a lot of money, and I don't know where it went either. But here's my point, Mikey. Here's my point.
Yeah, sure.
And Jason can relate to this. When he takes a young boy, girl, whoever, or even an old guy in that beautiful nitro boat. When we was kids, as I become a professional bass fisherman, I would tell Jimmy, I don't care about anything else. If it's not a bass, I don't care. Now that's wrong. Okay, as you do that and travel all over the country, make the top 100s like that, that's a huge feat.
It is.
Okay, you remember when we was kids like this? This is the true meaning of fishing. You take someone like this that takes a boy, girl, someone like Mike, boy, girl, and we with mom, dads, grandpas, and we're fishing off the bank, catching bluegill or crappie, and you remember we was catching these. Your heart beats out of your chest.
Man. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it
that's
still
the
does.
true
Can you imagine?
enthusiasm.
That's
Well,
right.
you lose that as a professional bass fisherman. People come to me all the time, how do I become a professional bass fisherman? First thing I tell them is don't get married. But I said, you gotta have the desire. The harder you work, the more you prepare, the luckier you're gonna get.
They
Same
don't
thing in
realize how much
anything.
work
Yeah,
really goes
it's
in.
work.
When people like hear about you fish, you fish, and you go to tournaments. Oh, that's easy. You just fishing.
Yeah.
No, it's not. They don't see behind them scenes.
You tying on. Look, I didn't know this. You tied your own bait. I didn't even have to.
So they don't see where you get to a tournament and you fish for 5 days pre-fishing, or 4 days, whichever kind of tournament it is, and you fish for them 4 days, and you fish out there, you're on the lake all day long, and you get back, and then you got to work on your boat. You got to get your stuff ready for what happened that day, what you're trying to predict is going to happen. You go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning,
Wore out.
then you're back up at 3:30, about 4 o'clock, 4:30, getting in the boat, going back to the ramp.
You're adrenaline. You don't sleep well because you're
Yeah,
adrenaline.
it's keeping
Okay.
you going.
So you do that for 5 days, and then you go start your 2-day tournament.
Yeah, that's
And
pretty.
then by the time you leave, it's,
Yeah. Well, let me just add this, Jace. You're correct. They think you don't have a job. They think, oh man, what? Let me tell you, when you're out there and it's 150 degrees and you can't beg a bite, you can't even breathe, and you hate your job. Let me flip it, okay? One of my big tournaments, I hated my job. I was fishing on Lake Truman, Lake Ozarks. We fished, like you said, out there 10 days. It was so cold. We had to throw our motors from turn. You had to put your rod in the water to cast. I was miserable. I hated my job, and I couldn't beg a bite.
right.
You know, so there's a lot of aspect. You and I understand that. And here's the deal. Last thing, and I'll shut up. When your house payment, when your kids, when your wife depends on what you make this week, I'm coming. It's important that we catch them. Hey, Fetch and Fish America, come and see us. Mike, and good to see you.
Yes, sir. Y'all
I
go
got
ahead.
it.